Hey, what's up, Crypto Army? I'm Travis, your crypto newbie, bringing my experiences so you don't have to learn things the hard way. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of my content should be viewed as financial advice. If you like what my content offers, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you get notified about new content when I post it. It really does help the channel grow and get the content to others that might like it. So today, I thought we'd talk a little bit about EverGrow coin. We are finally starting to see our first consolidation for this particular token. And as you can see, it's not a bad consolidation. It's a pretty significant dip here. It appears that a lot of people ate it up pretty quick because we had pretty significant increase right after the dip. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those that was able to buy the dip because I wasn't aware that it happened because I was working. But that was a good dip, and I hope some of you all got in on it because this coin has only been going up. And this is the real first opportunity that there's been to buy a dip. So hopefully you're excited if you got that. And there seems to be some other consolidation efforts going here. So you might have some other opportunities for it. I've said this before. It's unusual for a coin not to have a consolidation at all, especially in 5 weeks. And this token really hasn't had that. So if you look at it, especially the 90-day here, it's been nothing but up pretty much for the last month and a half. So we were due for a consolidation. It's just a matter of how much of a consolidation and how fast we rebound back from the consolidation. Those are kind of the questions that we can't really know for sure. So there's just some guesswork with that and a little bit of luck. One thing I'll point out here is we're a little light on people that are watching this particular token. We've got less people watching it than there are investors, and you can see I'm an investor and I'm watching it. So I think we need to get this token out to more people. There's been a lot of news out there, but I think there's a lot of people that are watching to see how things develop with the token. And if we go look at CoinMarketCap, we can kind of see the same thing on the number of people that are watching this particular token here as well. So we can see there's only 33,000 people with it on the watch list here. Now I'm not logged in, that's why you don't see that there. But if I'm logged in, then you would see that. I am a watcher on this particular token as well. And if we go to Twitter, we see kind of the same thing. We're in the 20 to 30,000 watchers of this particular token. Ideally, we want to grow that. The more people that are watching it, the more potential holders and the more potential investors in the token that we'll have. Now, one final thought on whales selling. Now, imagine for a second that you invested a couple $100 when this thing started, and it's gone up by a lot over the last 5 or 6 weeks. But imagine you're day one, day two buyer. You're getting potentially hundreds of billions of tokens, and the price shoots up this much. You could be potentially sitting on millions of dollars. So when you see whales sell off, consider that. Would you be selling off if you had a couple $100 and next thing you know you're a millionaire? And there's also the potential for a consolidation since this token hasn't done one yet. So don't worry so much about whales selling off. Always go back to your fundamentals. If you believe in the project, it doesn't matter that whales sell off and the price drops like this, or if the token consolidates lower, because it's going to come back. Try not to lose sight of why you got into this project in the first place and the potential that you saw, because it's easy to lose sight of that when you start getting scared. And that's really what it comes down to, is you got to go back to what you initially saw. No matter what else is going on, as long as the fundamentals have not shifted, then it's still a sound project and the price will go back. So just kind of consider that as well. Whale sell-offs are completely normal. That's a normal part of the process, because put yourself in the same situation. We're just getting started on this project. It's only been around for about a month and a half to 2 months. Where's it going to be next year? Are you going to be that whale that's considering selling? And I just wanted to kind of clarify that before we jump into the news, because it's easy to lose sight of what you would do. And you really need to consider what you're going to do. And even if you consider it in advance, it's really hard if you're not used to having millions of dollars, because I don't have millions of dollars. I can't predict how I'm going to react if I wake up tomorrow and I'm all of a sudden a millionaire. I don't think any of us can. There might be the instinct to sell just to make sure that we don't lose our money, because nothing's guaranteed in crypto. So those are interesting problems to have to work through, and I hope someday to have to consider them. I think we all do. But don't worry so much about the dips like this. And as far as the news, we've got another article here showing that we had the $1.5 billion market cap in about 5 weeks. And they've already distributed 14 million in rewards. So hopefully everybody out there is enjoying their rewards. I know I am. I'm not getting anywhere near what some of the tweets that are out there are. I don't have that many coins, but I do like the rewards I'm getting. And I like this. Cited by many analysts as the next Shiba Inu or Dogecoin. So if we look at Dogecoin, you might remember last year and earlier this year, it was worth almost nothing. And if we look back even further, again, it was pretty low on the price action as well as the volume, and then all of a sudden it just kind of shot up, went to that around that 70-cent mark up here, and then dropped back down, and it's been recovering ever since in its consolidation. Every once in a while we see a small spurt up, but it never really gets to here. And a lot of this again was Elon Musk, as I've mentioned before. In my opinion, the better comparison is Shiba Inu, because you're talking about, this one had roughly the same starting point, so 1 quadrillion tokens. Now they've since burned a few, and they gave some away that got burned, so if you don't know Shiba Inu, it's an interesting story, but there's not much of a use case. And you can see Shiba Inu is on fire. Now again, just like Dogecoin, it jumped up significantly earlier part of this year, and then it had a really long consolidation period where you got tested as far as whether you were going to continue to hold or not. Now hopefully EverGrow coin doesn't have this kind of a consolidation where it's a multi-month lengthy process before it jumps back up, and I don't think it will, but anything's possible. But you can see where we are now for Shiba Inu, way above all-time high, and there's still not much of a use case. Now they've added NFTs and they've done some other things. They incorporated a burn finally, but EverGrow coin has better tokenomics. Now there's no fee when you buy Shiba Inu, but you don't get anything redistributed either. Now unless you stake and you do some of the other things that are out there, you're just holding on and waiting for the price to go up, much like the stock market or much like previous cryptos of last year and years before. So that's really the differentiating aspect of EverGrow coin. Very similar as far as total supply. That's really where the comparison ends, because Shiba Inu didn't even have a use case for months. They've had other tokens. They've got Leash, they've got Bone. So they've developed an ecosystem, but having a bunch of tokens doesn't mean you've got utility. It just means you've got a bunch of tokens. And there's a lot of projects that are going that approach right now, whereas EverGrow coin has a use case. And some of those use cases are going to be launching here pretty soon. The other thing that there's a parallel between Shiba Inu and EverGrow coin is in terms of exchanges. So the team is actively working on adding additional exchanges. Shiba Inu, one of the reasons why you've seen this huge increase is because they started getting listed on A-list exchanges, Coinbase and a whole bunch of other ones. Now, Indicoin for EverGrow coin, and they've got 6 to 11 that they're talking about, and there's plenty that are contacting them to get listed. So they're going to be following a similar trajectory as far as getting listed on major exchanges, as long as the tokenomics make sense. And it sounds like they've got a solution for that as well. And it's just the first one needs to get implemented, and then after that, we're probably going to start to see over the next couple months a lot of exchanges list EverGrow coin. Now, this is one of the first videos you've watched on EverGrow coin. This article is pretty good. All the links that I've referenced in this video will be in the description. This one walks you through kind of the tokenomics and what's different about EverGrow coin, at least the basics of it. The website's got a lot more information, and I'll walk through a lot of the different utility that they're trying to add for this particular token. If you go through this and the white paper, there's plenty of information on here. But the NFT marketplace and the content creator aspect is ingenious. I think they're going to really grow once they start adding some content creators and get this NFT marketplace up and running. Now, one thing I haven't really mentioned a lot on my channel is the Fear and Greed Index, and I bring it up now because we've finally hit extreme greed. We've been kind of building up to extreme greed, and the market, if you look across the board, is pretty much up on crypto. So there's no doubt that we're in the extreme greed area. Now, why this matters is usually when we start hitting 80 to 90 for the extreme greed, we start to see more of a market consolidation. Not always, and sometimes the consolidations are pretty small, but sometimes they can drag on for a little while. So this is relevant because you might start to see other tokens, to include EverGrow coin, start to do a consolidation downward. Once this gets back down to lower levels, it rebounds. And that's generally, the fear and greed index is just a tool. It's not always accurate, but that's kind of how a lot of this stuff works. Is you'll see these ebbs and flows where tokens grow and then they consolidate, and then they grow and they consolidate. That's natural. How long they consolidate is usually a challenge for especially new holders, because you buy into the token and you might have lost some money on it and you get a little nervous because the price is staying low. So again, we look at Shiba Inu. Imagine if you bought up here and you sat down here from May all the way until September timeframe. That's a long time. You're probably getting pretty nervous about your investment at that point. I'm not going to say that this is going to happen with EverGrow coin, because I hope it doesn't, but it can. This is always a possibility when you buy into anything, whether it's stocks or cryptos. So you got to be aware of the possibility. And what you really need to think about at this particular juncture, and you really should do it before you invest, but if you haven't, is what is the strategy you're going to use? Are you going to sell and lose? Especially since there's a 14% fee. When you sell EverGrow coin at a loss, you lose a lot. Or are you going to hold? Now, my recommendation, again, I'm not a financial advisor, I hold. I bought Shiba Inu when it was up here, and I sat down here for all these months. And I've done that with a couple different tokens, because I started buying tokens for some of these newer ones, because they just launched recently, around the same time everybody else did. So I didn't necessarily get up here. I didn't necessarily get down here. I'm kind of all over their place on where I bought some of these tokens. So some of them are doing better and some of them are doing worse. But I sat here for a while for this particular token, and I bought probably right around here, I think. Because again, I didn't see much of a use case, and this is another one of those ones that doesn't have a docs team, and that's kind of a big deal for me. So, and I didn't have that much invested in it as a result. But I didn't necessarily buy in right away when it launched, because there are so many bad tokens out there that are just interested in making their money and getting out of their project and letting it fizzle out and die. So I bought in a little bit later, and I've been kind of sitting, waiting, and hoping. And there's a couple times I considered selling, because this one doesn't have a fee structure. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because now look at where it's at. And those are the things you got to consider. How much are you going to lose by selling out of your position? If it shoots up, are you going to kick yourself down the road? And then you got to think about what are the opportunity costs for your investment. So you might see other projects that you could invest in, and that's a consideration. I've got money in Dogecoin, even though I think it's a useless token, other than the fact that Elon Musk is supporting it. I've got money in there, and it's been pretty much not moving anywhere for months, kind of like what Shiba Inu is doing. And I'm still not convinced that it'll ever go anywhere. But I don't necessarily have a lot in that one, just because the use case really sucks for Dogecoin. So full disclosure, Dogecoin is one of those that I day trade on. I'll wait for it to go up a few pennies and then sell, and then wait for it to drop a few pennies and then buy. And I'll continue to do that and make a little bit of profit off of it. That's one of the reasons I keep Dogecoin, is it's free on Robinhood, so why not take advantage of free day trades? As long as you don't go over a certain number, you're usually fine on using it as day trading. Just got to be careful, because sometimes it will continue to go up more than a few pennies. So you kind of have to do a little bit more technical analysis to make sure that you don't make a bad decision. But if I had sold out of Dogecoin and transferred my money from Robinhood back into fiat and then put it into a different cryptocurrency, it could be worth significantly more. And that's a consideration that you have to make, is maybe not necessarily for EverGrow coin, just because, again, the fees. If you've got one of those that doesn't require fee every time you sell or buy, and it doesn't have a high fee for exchanging it for something else, it might make more sense to move out of your position and into something else. Just realize when the price goes up that you're not going to benefit from it. So those are some of the things you have to consider for cryptos. And it's no different in the stock market. The difference in the stock market is generally the costs associated with the fees, depending on what trading platform you're using. And the significant potential for price increase is usually unlike anything you're going to see in the stock market, which is why so many average people are switching over to crypto instead of the stock market, so we can finally catch up to all the rich people that have been fleecing us for years on stocks. A lot of the whales that have tons of money are day traders that are taking advantage of the market either through coordination or some other means. Again, that's the problem with it not being very regulated. So sometimes you'll see these whales sell off to try to tank the price and trigger a sell-off, because that's a lot of times what happens. It's harder with buyback and burn because they have a little bit more control over pushing money back into the token to counter one of these. So on another project that doesn't have buyback and burn, you'll see a buy off like this, and you'll have a couple of different whales in succession that drop the price down, and it gives them an opportunity to buy lower when everybody else starts to sell off, and then they can buy into their positions at a much lower rate. And it's usually us that get hurt by that, not necessarily them. But buyback and burn protects us a little bit from that. That was pretty much everything I wanted to cover for this particular video. I hope you liked the content. Just a reminder, at the end of this video, I'm going to have a quick referral video that walks you through Webull and BlockFi. And also in the description, there's a whole bunch of other options out there for potentially getting some discounts or money back on other programs as well. So check those out. You might find something in there that you haven't seen before and that you're interested in. And then all of that does help support this channel. Until next time, stay strong with those diamond hands. Crypto Newbie here to tell you how you can get $2,340 in free stocks. All the links I use in this video are in the description. Sign up for Webull and get 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300. Your first stock is free automatically. Deposit any amount and you get your second stock. Deposit 1 penny and you get your second stock. Total value could be up to $2,300. Generally $5 per stock is what you get. Next we have BlockFi. Get $10 in Bitcoin just for signing up. Read the fine print. I've got a rewards account. You'll get $40 in Bitcoin, as will I. So you know exactly what I'm going to get and what you're going to get. You do need to deposit $100 to get your $40 in Bitcoin. That's the overview how to get $2,340 just by signing up for accounts.